Can you just tell our listeners what exactly a cozy mystery is and what differentiates it from other types of mystery?
Yes, absolutely. It's very important to differentiate your as an author, to differentiate your book um, from the huge genre of crime, mystery and thriller, because it's absolutely huge and there are so many different subcategories and subsets. What's special about cozy mystery is that it's very light-hearted. It can have serious themes as well, and I do have serious undercurrents in all of my books, but they are light-hearted, make you feel good, give you a little bit of escapism, a bit of fun, often quite have a lot of humour in mine, have a lot of humour. I can't write seriously for very long. I've had some jokes and fun in there. And they often have eccentric characters. I have a lot of those. But the central characters have to be lovable as well, I think. Not necessarily the murder victims or the crime victims. So they don't always have to be murders either, which I think is quite nice. And that's kind of going back to the traditions of the golden age of crime with Agatha Christie and so forth. Agatha Christie didn't always have murders as the central crime. She had some jewel heists and all that sort of thing as well. So yeah, they're feel-good stories, but with the same kind of intellectual puzzle and the whodunit element of other kinds of crime as well. That you can usually spot a cozy mystery a mile off because it has a light, jolly cover rather than sort of the dark black bold lettering that you see in psychological thrillers and grisly crimes. So that's Best Murder in Show, sort of light blue, villagey, summery effect. So the light cover sets you up for a light, jolly story. They're quite often seasonal. They quite often have a very strong, ideally they should have a strong sense of place. For my first series, the Sophie Sayers Village Mysteries stories, I've got 7 books running the course of the village year. So a lot of cozy mysteries have a strong sense of place, a sort of a theme for their setting. And so you feel like you're having a little outing somewhere. I'm just read the latest in a really lovely, it's actually a police procedural. It's not a cozy crime, but it's a police procedural story series set in Fiji by B.M. Alsop, which has a splendidly named policeman called Joe Horseman. And you get a lot of the setting of Fiji and the culture of Fiji in the same way that mine is set very firmly in the Cotswolds, which is where I've lived for the last 30 years. I take a lot of my inspiration and get my ideas from having immersed myself in real village life for the last 30 years. I'm on all sorts of committees and done all sorts of things. And I sing in the church choir, I'm a bell ringer. I've run the Village Youth Club and the PTA for 7 years, all that sort of thing. And so that's the kind of experience that I'm drawing on to make my cozy mysteries really atmospheric. The cozy mysteries can be contemporary, mine are contemporary, and there is also quite a lot of historical cozy mysteries as well. 1920s, 1930s seems to be really popular for cozy mystery. Mine are set in the modern world, although some people say, oh, it's so nice and nostalgic reading your books because villages like that don't exist, really, do they? And I say, yes, they do. Come and visit where I live. Because they absolutely do. And that's one of the reasons that I started writing this series of books, is because I like to celebrate community and the sense of community that's in my village. And my second series is set in a girls' boarding school. I worked in a girls' boarding school for 13 years, and that has a similar sense of community. And again, it's a really strong setting. Setting is all important, I think, in cozy mysteries, as you're experiencing with reading mine now. That's part of the fun, is the setting.